Chupacabra is the Balzer and Mabillard inverted coaster at Six Flags Fiesta, Texas. This is a familiar Batman the Ride layout, but this one has a far more complex history than usual. It has been relocated twice, survived a hurricane, and it recently had its name changed over from Goliath. After all this, is it still a good ride? Find out in this review. Balzer and Mabillard, or B&M, debuted the inverted coaster in 1992. The first was Batman the Ride at Six Flags Great America. This ride received rave reviews. It was a super smooth and forceful ride that occupied a relatively small plot of land, so parks began cloning it. 4 of the first 6 clones went to Six Flags parks. The other 2 both went to Japan. Himeji Central Park added Diavolo in 1994, and then Thrill Valley added Gambit in 1995. The latter is the subject of this video. Gambit was the park's signature coaster, but Thrill Valley started removing rides over the next few years. This eventually led to the park's closure in 2002. Six Flags purchased several of the park's rides, including Gambit. Around the same time, they also purchased a new theme park in Louisiana named Jazzland. In 2003, this park was rebranded as Six Flags New Orleans. It received $20 million in upgrades. This most notably included the former Gambit, which was renamed Batman the Ride. This would serve as the park's premier steel coaster, but the park was about to meet its unfortunate demise. In August 2005, Hurricane Katrina devastated New Orleans. The city suffered widespread flooding, including Six Flags. The park never reopened, and many rides were irreparably damaged. However, Batman escaped with just minor damage. There are 2 reasons for this. 1, the support structure was corrosion resistant, allowing it to withstand the water. 2, the track and other components were located high above the ground, minimizing their exposure and damage. Six Flags removed the coaster and refurbished it. They then relocated it to Six Flags Fiesta, Texas. This was an interesting decision. Most parks in the chain already had an inverted coaster. Fiesta, Texas did not. The ride was undoubtedly a good fit if you only considered the park's own lineup. While enthusiasts often criticize clones, the reality is that most guests will never know. However, in this case, many guests can tell. This is because there's a mirrored clone of the attraction just 14 miles away. Ever since 1997, SeaWorld San Antonio has been home to Great White. Fiesta opened their invert in 2008 as Goliath. This too was an odd choice. Six Flags loves this name. They've used it 7 times. Most times, it has made sense. They typically reserve it for the park's first or second tallest coaster. When it opened, Goliath was the 4th tallest coaster at Fiesta, Texas. By 2024, it had dropped to the park's 7th tallest coaster. So at the end of the year, they announced the coaster would be renamed Chupacabra. This was a much better name. Not only was it unique for a coaster, but the title character is prominent in the area's folklore, and that thematically makes sense. The ride was placed immediately to the left of the main entrance in a former picnic area. This made it a continuation of the entry area known as Festivales, which celebrates the culture of Texas and San Antonio, so naming the ride after local legend is perfect. Now, as of this recording, the coaster is undergoing a bit of an identity crisis. There's a Chupacabra sign to the right of the entrance, but the grand entry archway still says Goliath. Multiple signs in the park still say Goliath as well. Then both the park website and the park's Flash Pass page both list the Goliath name as well. I have no doubt the park will rectify these issues. It's just a matter of when. The park confirmed they have a large new entry sign on the way, and the promotional art for it looks great. But for now, the different signage is comically confusing, for me at least. The rename also came with a repaint. Goliath originally featured royal blue track and yellow supports. This looked fantastic on sunny days. I especially loved how it popped against the quarry wall. but it contrasted mightily with the rest of Festivales. Chupacabra better fits in with its tan track. Per the park, this transformation will also add landscaping, an improved ride plaza, some theming elements, and an ominous musical score. These will be added on a rolling basis, presumably in the quieter periods when they can afford to close the coaster. I really hope they address the queue specifically, and I think that's likely based on their recent additions. Their newest rides have had quite a bit to see when you queue. Then recent refreshes like Pirates of the Deep Sea and Poltergeist both received themed queues. Chupacabra's current queue was carried over from Goliath. It is pretty bare bones. There are some lower switchbacks that are at least covered, but the final stretch has a series of ramps up to the station, and these have zero shade. This is brutal in the summer. My guess is that the park will cover this part of the queue and add some visuals explaining the creature's backstory. For now, you definitely do not want to get stuck in a long queue on a warm day. This coaster has solid capacity at least. There are 2 trains, and both are commonly in use. Then those trains seat a max of 28 riders, as there are 7 rows of 4. So when are the best times to experience this attraction? The best time to experience this attraction is before the park opens. Fiesta Texas commonly lets guests enter the park a half hour before the official opening time. They hold guests in Festivales. Many times, Chupacabra is already available, so you can get a bonus ride or 2 with minimal to no wait. If you are not there early, I would save Chupacabra for the second half of the day. Since this coaster is immediately to the left of the main entrance and highly visible from the entry area, many people make it their first stop. This means the queue will often be its longest at the start of the day. By the late afternoon and evening, this ride is often a walk-on. This is because the flow of guests entering the park has subsided and most people are deeper in the park. It admittedly is a bit annoying having to walk back to the entrance to ride this coaster because it's the only thing over there, but it is worth it for the short wait. This coaster is also available in the park's paid Flash Pass Skip the Line Pass. This brings you directly to the station, so it saves a ton of time if there is a sizable queue. Once in the station, you are free to select any row you'd like. I prefer the front slightly. It is hard to beat that unobstructed view on an invert. All seats are very forceful, but the whip on the inversions is a bit better in the back, so I would try both the front and back if you have time. It is worth noting that Chupacabra's trains are 1 row shorter than the usual Batman the Ride clones. Typically, they have 8 rows of seats. The only other versions with 7 rows are Shadows of Arkham at Parque Warner Madrid and Vampire at La Ronde. You would think the shorter trains would hurt the experience, but that is not the case with these rides. The 2 I mentioned are among the wildest of the Batman clones. Chupacabra is more on par with the average Batman clone, which is still ultra intense. Riders are secured by the familiar B&M over-the-shoulder restraints. These are fine. They are hard, but the ride tracks very smoothly, so there's no headbanging. That is mighty impressive given how snappy this coaster's inversions are. It is worth noting this coaster is an audible rattle though. You'll hear the train shake, but it doesn't actually translate to any tangible roughness for riders, thankfully. Once secured, you roll forwards and ascend a 105-foot, or 32-meter tall chain lift. You have the parking lot off to your right, but you get some decent views of the park if you look forwards or left. Once at the top, you have a small pre-drop. Then, you have a swooping drop right. Most Batman coasters drop left, but Chupacabra is a mirrored version, hence why you drop right instead. The drop is 8 stories tall, and it has some solid pull in the back. This is immediately followed by a vertical loop. All 5 inversions of this ride are very snappy, but this is the most intense inversion in my opinion. I typically gray out here because of a forceful valley, followed by a fast and tight loop. Next is a whippy 0G roll. Since I'm usually in the process of regaining my vision, the rapid rotation is ultra disorienting. This is usually my favorite inversion on an invert, and it is no different here. I love how you feel some faint float, yet the lateral spin dominates. This is followed by another vertical loop. While I don't gray out on this one, it is another powerful inversion with great G's and whip. This leads directly into an intense upward spiral. This exerts high positive G's, and it feels like my legs will explode from the blood rushing to them. I like that display of power. This is followed by the one lull on the coaster. It is a brief aerial straightaway where you can catch your breath. Next is a shallow curve drop left. This rebuilds the speed for the finale. The train charges through a wingover, which feels like a corkscrew, albeit a very powerful one. The train is yanked on through it. The lateral whip is fantastic. This is followed by a 180-degree turn offering some solid positive G's. Then, there's the fifth and final inversion, the second wingover. It is equally as strong as the prior one. You then have one last upwards turn to the brakes. The turn itself is fairly mild, but my head is still spinning at this point from the prior blitz of elements. You then hit the brakes and return to the station, ending the 2,693 foot or 821 meter long experience. I already touched on the smoothness, but what about the pacing? This is a fast and furious coaster. The combination of high positive G's and snappy inversions makes it one of the more intense rides out there. So what would I rate this coaster? I would give Chupacabra an 8 out of 10. This is a very good inverted coaster. While it is a clone, it is a wild and satisfying experience. I love the ride's powerful turns and inversions. I previously said I preferred the nearby Great White at SeaWorld to this coaster, primarily because that one has better terrain interaction. But after my recent re-rides, I think Chupacabra offers a slightly better ride experience because it's a bit more forceful. Those are my thoughts on Chupacabra at Six Flags Fiesta Texas. What are your thoughts on this coaster and its recent retheme? Let me know down in the comments. If you enjoyed this review, I would appreciate it if you gave this video a like, and you consider subscribing, because there'll be a lot more roller coaster and amusement park videos here at Canopy Coaster. Thanks for watching.